don't know how I follow that up. That was so much fun. Let's give another round of applause to Need Dembaya, presented by Creative Suitland, one of the many nonprofit partners doing extraordinary work in Prince George's County with support from the Community Foundation and its donors. So thank you so much for that incredible kickoff. And I am so excited to be with you here this evening. I'm Alexa Landestoy, host of Capitals coverage at Monumental Sports Network, and I am thrilled to be your MC. I already met a Capitals fan in the valet line, so shout out to Heidi. She's somewhere around here. But it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2026 Celebration of Philanthropy. I spent most of my professional career working in sports. I've been in arenas, I've been on sidelines, I've been in locker rooms after wins and losses, and I know what it feels like and what it looks like to be a part of a team and play for something bigger than yourself. And that's what drew me to my work at Monumental Sports Network and what ultimately drew me to being here with you guys tonight for this powerful evening. Now, I'll be honest with you, I thought I knew what foundation does, but then when I started to learn about what this community foundation does, the scale of it, the reach of it, the fact that when there is a need in this region, this is the organization that goes to work mobilizing resources and partnering with many of the nonprofits in this room to make sure help reaches the people or the causes that need it most. And that's not a small thing, that is everything. And that is what the Greater Washington Community Foundation does to support and strengthen this region. But they don't do that work alone. You are sitting in a room next to one another with some of the most generous, committed changemakers in this Greater Washington region, donors who have direct resources towards our most pressing challenges, nonprofit leaders doing the daily work of transforming lives, community partners and advocates who bring their full selves to this cause. And this evening is for you and because of you. So let's have a round of applause for all of you in attendance here today. Now, tonight's program, as we already felt the energy from that performance, is going to be filled with inspiration and connection. You're going to hear from remarkable leaders and experience live performances from some of the most exciting artists that this region has to offer, representing nonprofit art organizations that the Community Foundation and its community givers have been proud to support. Now, the centerpiece of the evening is an award presentation. We're taking a look at the shiny hardware next to me, recognizing Monumental Sports Entertainment for using its platform and its resources to strengthen this community through the power of sport. I want to start by introducing the woman who has built the Community Foundation into what it is today, a trusted anchor for the entire National Capital Region. Like I mentioned earlier, I cover athletes for a living, and the ones that last are the ones that make an impact and aren't just talented, but they're the ones who put in the work. They're driven by something deeper than winning. They're driven by something that's deeper into their purpose. And Tonia Wellens brings that same energy and drive into the work of building a more equitable region. She channels that purpose into action and works with the Community Foundation's donors to turn their generosity into a real lasting impact for this region. Under her leadership, the Community Foundation has grown into the largest public charity in this region with a bold, decade-long commitment to advancing economic justice. And when tragedy struck this region on January 29th, 2025, she led with urgency and heart to launch the DCA Together Relief Fund to make sure that grieving families and first responders knew they were not alone. Now this is purpose in action. Everybody, please join me in welcoming the President and CEO of Greater Washington Community Foundation, Tonia Wellens.
Thank you, Alexa. Good evening. So a few weeks ago, I sat down for lunch with about a dozen extraordinary women. Some were fund holders at the Community Foundation. Others are still finding their philanthropic footing. But what we all had in common, besides being beautiful, multi-generational, powerful, was a shared desire to do something impactful together. Just 2 days ago, I met with a family whose charitable assets have been at the Community Foundation for 29 years. Every year since I've joined the foundation, I've had the privilege of sitting with them, with trading stories about life and travel and philanthropy. But this year was different. The mother was stepping off the board to make room for the eldest son, and next year the younger son will join the board as the father steps down. For this family, giving is not just a duty, it is a tradition that's passed down from one generation to the next. And just before I walked into this room, we hosted a private reception for leaders in institutional philanthropy and individual givers who've been working with us, some for as long as 8 years, around a single urgent goal: ending homelessness in the nation's capital. 3 different gatherings, 3 different expressions of the same truth. There is joy in generosity, and to whom much is given, much is required. That, my friends, is my very intentional way of saying, welcome to our 2026 Celebration of Philanthropy. So this celebration is also known as Philanthropy Prom, so welcome to Philanthropy Prom. I want to start with a few acknowledgments. First, I want to ask my board of directors here at the Community Foundation and board members emeriti, if you would please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your hard work and your dedicated service. To our community champions, the donors who fuel our work year after year, you are the foundation beneath our foundation. Your sustained commitment is what allows us to show up for this region and do what we do. Tonight is as much a celebration of you as it is anything else. To our generous sponsors, especially our lead sponsors, Brown Advisory, Decker Anstrom and Sherry Heimstra, Care First, the Richard E. and Nancy P. Marriott Foundation, the Cliff and Debbie White Family Foundation, thank you. Your investments send a clear signal. This work matters. Thank you. To our fund holders and partners, it is a privilege to steward what you have entrusted in us. That trust shapes every single decision that we make. And to the nonprofits, our partners, thank you for your grace and grit and for all that you've done to navigate this year. You've served our community without pausing, even as the ground beneath you shifted. To all of our friends from across the region, the fact that you showed up tonight, given the parking situation, it's proof that you still believe in the power of collective action, and that's exactly what we are here to celebrate tonight. So I think it's important to acknowledge the moment in history of our region and our nation. As we inch closer to the 250th anniversary of our country's official founding, many of us are finding ourselves reflecting on how far we've come and how far we still must go. We've experienced funding cuts, massive job losses, the closing of institutions that represented American values both here and abroad, the gutting of voting rights. We've watched mounting uncertainty as mission-driven organizations, from health centers to immigrant-serving nonprofits, now working in the shadows to avoid retribution. Not long ago, Black Lives Matter was a refrain that we were proud to stand behind. And now, with DEI made effectively illegal, we find ourselves asking, what has become of us and all that we once stood for? It's times like these that I'm reminded of the power of community, that even in our darkest moments, there are people working quietly behind the scenes that are leading boldly from the front, and there are people who are supporting those people to sustain, to re-envision, and to rebuild. I actually know a few of them. It's the 700 and plus fund holders at the Greater Washington Community Foundation. It's our peers and partners in philanthropy. It's the social impact and mission-driven leaders in this audience whose care and commitment have absolutely no end. And I want to be honest with you. Philanthropy alone cannot fill the void of these financial losses. But we can work on a community vision, a collective vision for the future. We can invest strategically towards shared goals. We can convene like-minded partners, and we can advocate with everything we have for justice. How we show up for this region is a direct reflection of who we are. We have a responsibility to ensure that the resources under our control are deployed with intention and with urgency and with the communities that we serve centered. Last year, we reactivated the Community Resilience Fund, providing over $14 million in flexible, responsive support to nonprofits who were responding to the disruptions, the funding gaps, and the surges in demands for services. We co-led Greater Washington Together. I think my friend Alex Orfinger is here somewhere, bringing together leaders from across sectors, working together on strategies to keep impacted government workers in our region. We created tools to help them find new opportunities right here at home. And because cash is king, we continue to invest in our direct cash transfer work. We supported guaranteed income. We supported home ownership down payment support, medical debt reduction, and children's savings accounts, because for many, the rainy day had already arrived. We made a deliberate choice to use our voice and convening power to encourage national philanthropy and cities throughout the country to stand with DC, pushing against the outsized federal overreach into the affairs of the city and asserting the district's right to self-governance. Through your generosity and partnership, we dispersed $130 million in philanthropic capital last year alone. 78% of that was invested right here in the Greater Washington region. So I won't pretend that the road ahead is smooth. More uncertainty is coming. I can guarantee that. But dreaming about a new future for this region gives me energy. I have full faith and confidence in the lawyers and the policy wonks, in the artists and activists, the developers and the bankers, the people who were born here and the people who chose to come here, that we will lean in together and fix broken systems and build something better. Thriving communities, though, are not built on policy alone. They are built through human connection, through evenings like tonight, through art and culture, through civic life, and through sports. DC has long been a sports town. The renewed excitement around the Wizards and the Howard basketball team, the passion for DC United and the Caps, the growing investments in the Mystics and the Spirit, the return of the Commanders to DC, rooting for the home team, as Alexa said, it really does something to us. It reminds us that shared experiences still have the power of bringing people together. So let's bring forth that same energy, that same pride, that same conviction of all being on the same team to the work of building community. I believe we have it in us. I see examples of it every single day, and I can't wait to see what else we do together. But tonight is not just about the work ahead. It's also about pausing to celebrate the people and the organizations who show up for this community in ways that deserve to be honored and recognized. So the Spirit of Philanthropy Award is the highest honor the Community Foundation bestows each year. It recognizes transformational investments that shift the culture of a community by demonstrating what it looks like when someone with resources and reach chooses to use them both in service of something that's larger than themselves. And tonight we are so proud to honor Monumental Sports and Entertainment with the 2026 Spirit of Philanthropy Award. Now, many of you know Monumental for its world-class teams, its iconic venues, its renowned approach to sports and media and live events. But what truly distinguishes Monumental is its deep commitment to community impact alongside athletic excellence. Through the work of Monumental, its foundation, its teams, and the Leonsis family, the organization invests in youth development, expanding access to sports and entertainment, and mobilizes resources in moments of urgency. In this recent season, Monumental has directed tens of millions of dollars in philanthropic support across our region. This generosity was on full display following the tragic mid-air collision on January 29, 2025. That collision claimed the lives of all 67 passengers, crew, and service members. These were people with families and futures who were just trying to get home. The grief was immediate and overwhelming. Our community foundation, in coordination with our partners from Act for Alexandria, is here in the room, Act for Alexandria, the Arlington Community Foundation, the Community Foundation for Loudoun and Northern Fauquier counties, and the Community Foundation of Northern Virginia, we all came together to launch DCA Together Relief Fund. The fund was designed to aid impacted families, first responders, and nonprofits who were supporting recovery and healing. Working closely with the Wichita Foundation's Relief Fund, we ensured that families of travelers from Wichita to DCA on that day received the care and support they needed. Days after launching the fund, we got a call from Elizabeth Pace and Monica Dixon, who were similarly devastated by the collision and were moved to act. The team at Monumental was already formulating plans to contribute to the event and to the fund and honor the lives of those lost and those first responders who gave everything they had in the recovery efforts. So Legacy on Ice, I don't know if you all remember that, but it was a really big event. It was held on March 2025, and it brought together leading figure skaters from across the country. It recognized that the skating community, and if you all can remember, because so many things have happened, it's hard to piece these things together, but the skating community, if you all recall, was deeply impacted by that collision. The funds that were raised benefited the U.S. Figure Skating, the DC Fire and EMS Foundation, and our DC Together Relief Fund. And I want to just quickly acknowledge Danielle Yates, who was the person who really drove all of the effort and coordination behind the DCA Together Fund. She's my head of marketing and communications, but she rose to the occasion to make this fund a success. But it was because of the generosity of Monumental and more than 560 donors from around the country, with gifts ranging from $5 to $30,000, that we raised and dispersed nearly $1 million. Most of it, thank you. Most of those resources were offered as direct financial assistance to the impacted families. And additional grants were offered to the first responders. We worked very closely with an organization called Food on the Stove. I'm not sure if anyone from Food on the Stove is here tonight. Thank you so much for your partnership. And finally, we worked with the Went Center for Loss and Healing to provide mental health and grief counseling services for impacted families. A family member of one of the lost passengers shared something that has stayed with me. She said the fund showed her family that there were people who they'd never met, who didn't know them by name, who cared. This is what Monumental helped to make happen. Monumental Sports and Entertainment has long brought the city together around things that matter to us: sports, culture, pride, and community. But what they showed us last year went beyond the court and the arena. They showed up when the community was in need of hope and heart. And that's exactly what the Spirit of Philanthropy Award is meant to honor. And so now it is my esteemed pleasure to turn the podium back over to Alexa, who will help us with the presentation of the award.
If Few more speeches, then we're off to dinner, guys. Thank you so much, Tonia. I've learned that the most powerful moments aren't always the ones happening on the court or on the field, as Tonia mentioned. Sometimes they're bigger than the play itself, and they're the ones made off of it. When someone chooses to use their position or platform for the betterment of community, and that is exactly what the Spirit of Philanthropy Award was created to honor. This award recognizes an organization or individual philanthropist whose generosity has made a meaningful and lasting difference in the greater Washington region. This year's honoree has demonstrated that a sports and entertainment organization can be something more than just a brand. It can be a force for good. To present this award, we are joined by someone who knows something and a thing or two about what it means to pursue excellence with purpose and passion. He is a graduate of DeMatha Catholic High School and went on to play at Duke, where he was a part of the team that won back-to-back NCAA championships. He eventually came home here to DC and built something historic at one of the great HBCUs, leading Howard University's men's basketball program to back-to-back Mid-East Atlantic Conference tournament titles and consecutive NCAA tournament appearances, the first in program history. We may need to raise this mic a little bit when he gets up here. Off the court, he's a champion for civic engagement, social justice, and the communities his players come from. Please join me in welcoming the head coach for Howard University's men's basketball program, Kenneth Blakeney.
This is a wonderful room, and I'm so grateful and honored to be here. And I did not know the Greater Washington Community Foundation was going to take me back home tonight with that wonderful, wonderful presentation of the music that they gave us at the beginning. So thank you so much. Thank you to the Greater Washington Community Foundation for inviting and for the extraordinary work you continue to do throughout our region. Your commitment to strengthening communities, investing in young people, and creating pathways for opportunity across the DMV matters deeply, especially at times when so many people and communities are searching for connections, support, and hope. For many people, Monumental may be known through the teams, the arenas, and the headlines, but tonight is really about much, much bigger and better. It's about what happens when these organizations understand that sports are not just entertainment. They're a platform for impact. The work Monumental Sports Foundation has done throughout our region has touched countless lives, from renovating community services and supporting youth programs to investing in mental health initiatives, education, mentorship, and family services. Monumental has consistently demonstrated what it means to truly be rooted in the community rather than just simply operating within one. And what makes the impact meaningful is not just the scale of work, it's the consistency of it. You see it in the Monumental Scholar initiatives. You see it in the support provided to families and neighborhoods across the DMV. And you see it every time athletes, coaches, executives, and staff members show up at schools, recreation centers, hospitals, and community spaces. Not because cameras are there, but because presence matters. They also show up in front lines when tragedy strikes communities. When the horrific plane crash occurred at DCA last January, claiming 67 lives, Monumental sprang into action, launching the DCA Together Relief Fund and hosting a Legacy on Ice benefit concert. That kind of commitment leaves a lasting impact. Long before I became a coach, I was simply a kid from uptown DC who believed sports could open doors. That belief is why partnerships and relationships like this matter so much. One of the things I've come to appreciate most is how interconnected this community truly is. From universities, nonprofits, businesses, civic leaders, and organizations like Monumental, all working towards the same larger goal: investing in people. At Howard Basketball, we talk often about our responsibility to serve, lead, and to give back. Not because it sounds good in a slogan, but because young people are always watching what leadership looks like. Our program has been built on a truly special relationship with Monumental Sports and the Leonsis family. What has always stood out for me is that their commitment has never felt transactional. It has felt genuine, intentional, and human. That partnership has continued to grow in meaningful ways. One of my favorite moments was hosting the Capital City Go-Go on our campus for a scrimmage that brought together our students and broader community. But what stood out most wasn't the basketball, it was what happened afterwards. Our students participated in a breakout session and question and answer discussion with members of the organization, asking questions about leadership, careers, branding, operational, and life beyond the court. That kind of access matters. Those moments plant seeds and expand what young people believe is possible for themselves. We've also had the privilege of hosting Zach Leonsis as our captain of the day during Monumental Sports Night against Alcorn State, a tradition with our program where leaders speak directly to our team before tip-up and spin the game alongside our players and staff. Again, not symbolic involvement, real engagement. From participating in the 2024 Monumental Coaches Clinic to multiple appearances on Monumental Off the Bench podcast with Chase Hughes discussing Howard basketball, HBCU culture, leadership, and the future of college athletics. Individually, those moments may seem small, but collectively, they represent something powerful: alignment, visibility, and genuine investment in relationship building throughout this city. And now, as many people may know, we've welcomed John Wall to our staff as President of Basketball Operations. John's legacy in this city and his history with the Washington Wizards and Monumental organization runs deep. But truthfully, what made this alignment with John feel so natural was simply not basketball. It was purpose. And ultimately, that's the power of sports and foundations at their best. Not just competition, but connection. Not just performance, but purpose. Not just building teams, but building communities. This city shaped my values, my perspective, and my belief in resilience, service, and opportunity. So tonight is not simply about honoring an organization. It's about recognizing what can happen when institutions choose to invest in people consistently, intentionally, and with genuine care for those communities they serve. So on behalf of Howard University men's basketball, we thank you, Monumental Sports Foundation, and the Leonsis family. Congratulations again on this incredible honor, and we thank you so much. At this time, please direct your attention to the screen for a brief video presentation, followed by the acceptance remarks from Lakeisha Roberts.
Monumental means commitment. It means showing up for young people and really shaping the next generation of sports in Washington, D.C.
We are committed to the city's success. Monumental wants to be part of that, and we want to be part of that together.
Monumental understands their mission is to support first responders, and we appreciate that.
Monumental sports staff and players and leaders build the dream of our kids.
Monumental Sports and Entertainment has been a really great and unique partner to DC Public Schools because the organization really mirrors the goals that we have for our scholars. Last year's District Dribble event was one of the largest at-once donations that we've ever received at DC Public Schools, with more than 29,000 basketballs delivered to 80 schools. It was huge. Over 6,400 sneakers delivered to our student athletes across the district. Our scholars are really blown away by this generosity. It's a mutually beneficial partnership because now we know that the Monumental Sports and Entertainment organization is cultivating and fostering generations of fans for years to come.
Kaboom has been partnering with Monumental Sports and Entertainment for 15 beautiful years. Together, we have built 11 play spaces across the DC area. For 15 years, their leadership has shown up, their players have shown up, and they have said to us that we're just not here for a day of joy and to give something special today. We are here to help you solve a problem. We've got kids that are walking into childhood unlike anything that we've seen in our history. And so when they see a community coming together to build that play space for them, they see the best of us.
DC Central Kitchen has been part of Washington for 37 years. The volunteer experience has always been part of DC Central Kitchen. Having the Monumental Sports team down here once a month volunteering with our staff and our students, and our brand new 37,000 square foot state-of-the-art food hub here on the banks of the Anacostia River is a huge part of the experience of DC Central Kitchen. Early on, we were working with Ted Leonsis. Now we work closely with Zach. What we see MSE doing is actually thinking about that involvement on a much grander scale. And we see them, they are writing the check. They are getting involved, but they're getting involved on a regular basis.
On January 29th, 2025, a tragic mid-air collision outside of DCA Airport claimed the lives of 67 passengers, crew, and service members, including several members of the figure skating community returning from a development camp.
The DC Fire and EMS Foundation's mission is to support the DC Fire and EMS and its employees. I got a call from Monumental Sports. Ted Leonsis wanted to do something. I shared with them that if they could organize an event that would include the first responders and honor them, that I thought that would help with their healing.
On March 2nd, 2025, Monumental Sports hosted Legacy on Ice, a star-studded figure skating tribute at Capital One Arena that drew a sellout crowd of more than 15,000 people, including first responders and family members honoring their loved ones.
It's nice to know that there's people and organizations out there that care about you, being recognized and appreciated for the hard work that you did. And, you know, it's something that's going to stay with us forever.
Thanks to the generosity of Monumental Sports, its foundation, and over 500 individual and corporate donors, the Community Foundation distributed $800,000 through the DCA Together Relief Fund.
My husband is Charles McDaniel. He goes by Charlie. So he was on American Airlines Flight 5342 coming back from Kansas. We had a great life, a blessed life. You know, he worked very hard, but he was a family man. Having this relief fund and having this support from, I think it was like 500 and some donators, really just showed that, you know, people are there, people are good, and they're here to support, and it meant the world to my family.
Congratulations, Monumental, on your contribution and also on this award.
Kaboom congratulates you.
Congratulations, Monumental Sports.
Thank you once again for taking care of the DC Fire Department.
For just unwavering support, we are very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everything you've done, not just for DC Central Kitchen, but for this entire community in this city.
Lakeisha Roberts.
Thank you, Coach. On behalf of Monumental Sports and Entertainment and our CEO, Ted Leonsis, I am honored to accept this recognition from the Greater Washington Community Foundation and to be in the room alongside so many organizations committed to the strength of this region. Monumental Sports is, at its core, a sports and entertainment company. We operate teams, we run several venues, we produce broadcasts. Over the years, we have come to understand something important about what we actually are to this community. Thank you. What Monumental Sports is in this city is a convener, sitting at the intersection of sport, culture, and civic life in the nation's capital. And with that position comes both opportunity and responsibility. We work to honor the responsibility every day through our District of Play Youth Sports Initiative, through partnerships with community organizations like GWCF, and through our foundation's ongoing investment in education, wellness, and opportunity. Ted Leonsis calls it a double bottom line strategy. that these commitments are built into the fabric of how our business operates, not as add-ons, but as core to our mission. But there are moments when the community calls for something more, when the scale of a need demands not just resources, but a platform. Legacy on Ice was exactly that kind of moment. On January 29th, 2025, 67 people lost their lives in the midair collision over the Potomac River, among them 28 members of the figure skating community. That tragedy felt deeply throughout our region, and the question for us at Monumental was not whether to respond, it was how to respond in a way that was worthy of the moment. The result was Legacy on Ice, a figure skating benefit held at Capital One Arena. Produced in just over a month's time, the event brought together world-class figure skaters, first responders, and over 15,000 attendees from across the country to honor lives lost, support impacted families, and raise funds for organizations like the GWCF. It was unlike anything many of us had ever worked on before. It was not simply an event on a calendar. It was a response to heartbreak, a way to honor lives lost, support families carrying unimaginable grief, and remind our community that they were not alone. Ultimately, the event raised over $1.3 million in direct support for families and first responders impacted by this tragedy. We were fortunate to work alongside partners like GWCF, whose leadership helped ensure that the generosity inspired by this event translated into real support for the people and families who needed it most. An event like Legacy on Ice does not happen because of one person, one department, or one organization. It happens because people across a community decide that a moment matters enough to give it their very best. For Monumental, this honor is meaningful because it reflects the kind of role we strive to play in this region. We know our platform comes with responsibilities to open our doors, to mobilize our people, to elevate causes that matter, and to help create moments that bring the community together when it matters the most. Legacy on Ice will always stand as one of those moments. It is also part of our larger commitment when we carry through our foundations, our teams, our athletes, our venues, and our work every day across the DMV. To the Greater Washington Community Foundation, thank you for your partnership and for the vital role you play in strengthening this region. To the families, first responders, and community members at the heart of Legacy on Ice, we remain humbled by your strength and grateful for the opportunity to honor you. To my colleagues at Monumental, thank you for proving again and again that the impact of this organization extends far beyond what happens during a game or a show. We are grateful to accept this recognition and even more grateful for the responsibility to keep showing up for this community. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not going to put this up quite at the height of Coach. Maybe a little higher there. Okay. So firstly, Lakeisha, thank you so much for those lovely words. We really appreciate them. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sean Morris, and it is my honor to serve as the chair of the Greater Washington Community Foundation Board of Trustees, and I'm your closer before the fun begins here this evening. So I'll try and keep it a little short. What Tanya shared with you earlier about this organization's work, the grant making, the advocacy, this didn't happen by accident. It is the result of an organization that has done the hard work of reaffirming what it stands for and staying true to our values when it matters most. I can tell you that sometimes those decisions are not easy, and I could not be prouder of the leadership of this organization and what it's demonstrated to serve all in Greater Washington. And then there is what we witnessed tonight in the tribute video. What Monumental did for these families, for this region, came from a genuine place of care. That is the spirit of philanthropy. On behalf of the Community Foundation and our DCA Together Relief Fund partners, I want to express our deepest gratitude to Lakeisha, Ted Leonis, and your entire team for everything you did to make Legacy on Ice such a powerful and healing event for this community. We will not forget it. Nights like this remind me of why this work matters and why the Community Foundation's role in it is irreplaceable. The Community Foundation is the connective tissue of our philanthropic community, providing the infrastructure that makes sustained, coordinated, and strategic giving possible across this entire region. That is rare. And it only happens because of the people in this room who have chosen to be part of it. As donors, as nonprofit partners, as board members, as community leaders, and as friends of this organization. I want to take a moment to thank everyone who contributed to this evening's program, to all the performers, our MC, Alexa Landestoy, and Coach Kenneth Blakeney. Thank you for lending your presence and your voice to this celebration. To Tonya Wellens, on behalf of the board, on behalf of this community, I want to thank you for your vision, your courage, and the depth of commitment you bring to this organization every single day. We are fortunate to have you at the helm. To our donors, fund holders, and community partners, thank you for your partnership and the trust you place in the Community Foundation. To our trustees and advisory board members, thank you for your leadership, your guidance, and your generous commitment to this organization's mission. And finally, I want to recognize the Community Foundation staff. What you see on a night like this reflects the work they do every single day for the communities we serve and for the mission we all believe in. Thank you for your dedicated service to this region. In closing, the work we are celebrating tonight does not end when we leave this room. It continues because of the people in this room. Now, the evening is not over. I'm going to ask you to join us upstairs for the after party, where you can enjoy some great food, an open bar, and live performances spread across not one, but 2 floors. Tonight, let's celebrate what we have built together and what we will build next. Thank you.